Hello, my name is Tatiana Farud. I'm the principal investigator of the National Cell Repository for Alzheimer's Disease, also called NCRAD. We're hosting a webinar today describing our services for Outgoing Samples. NCRAD is located at Indiana University at the School of Medicine. We're funded by the NIA. Our website is www.ncrad.org. Our outline for today is we'll review available samples. We'll do a demonstration of our catalog, and then we'll go over the request process to receive samples. NCRAD has a wide range of available samples. We bank samples from 28 different studies. These include a wide range of specimens that have been collected and banked, and they have a diverse disease focus. The next few slides will show the studies that have available samples that can be requested by investigators. I'll start with these three studies here, which have extensive and a wide range of sample types that are being collected. You can see 42 artful and lefties across the three rows. The populations that each study is targeting is then showed next to that. And as you can see, all of these studies are banking genomic DNA, RNA, plasma, serum, peripheral blood mononuclear cells, cerebrospinal fluid, and two of these three studies are also longitudinal. This slide illustrates a wider range of studies that are also available for samples to be requested. You can see all the studies listed along in each of the rows. The target population is then also listed. All of these studies have genomic DNA. The majority have cell line DNA and are also collected here lymphoblastoid cell lines that can be requested. One of the studies has plasma and serum. Three of the studies have peripheral blood mononuclear cells, and two of these studies are also longitudinal. If you want to see all the studies that have samples and cohorts that have samples that can be requested, you can see those at www.ncrad.org, and you can see that by looking under Biospecimens and Data and clicking on Accessing Biospecimens and Data. There's a full list in a very similar format to what we just showed you right here. We're now going to start a tour of the NCRAD catalogs.
My name is Chris Hobick, and I will be walking you through the NCRAD online specimen catalogs. To access the catalog, first go to www.ncrad.org. From there, you can click on Biospecimens and Data and Accessing Biospecimens and Data. On this page, you can see all of the studies that are currently distributing through NCRAD, the population of the subjects, and the individual specimen types available for request. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, each one of those studies have a section that you can click on. Within that section, there's more information about the study, the subjects, how you can access the study data, and again, what specimens are available for request. To access the catalog, you first need to then click the catalog button. On this page, if you're a new user to NCRAD, you first must click the register button. To register, you must first agree to the data agreement. So if you read through this page, at the bottom you can click I agree, and then you'll fill out your information and click submit. Upon approval, the NCRAD coordinator will send you an email with your username and your temporary password. You can set your permanent password with a link within the email. If you already have a username, you can click on View Catalogs, and then you'll be prompted to put in your username and password. Let's click Login here. So for this demonstration, I'm going to show you the Artful Lefties catalog. Across the top of our catalogs, you'll see that there's a data dictionary. If you click on this, you can see the list of fields that we include in our minimal data set, along with their description. There's the Join Data button. So for some of our catalogs, we allow you to join external data. So you would do this from here. There's the Selection button, and I'll talk about this a little bit later. But essentially, this allows you to select all the records for specimens, select none, or you can click on the ones that you do not want, and you can do an inverse selection. There's also the Download button. So you have three options for the download. You can download the full data set, the full catalog. You can download the filtered, and I'll get into filtering in a minute. and then you can download just the selected. So if you have gone through and selected certain records, you can click the download selected. For all of these, you'll download a CSV file with all the fields that you're interested in. There's also a help system, so it talks about just the general use of this, how to filter, how to join that external data, and then how to order specimens. And then there's a tour that's just kind of basically what I'm providing right now is just kind of a demo of what each button does with this a little bit of information. On the left-hand side of the specimen catalog will be the field list that you can select from. So at any point you can check on different fields that you're interested in seeing. You can also filter, so if you hit the filter button here, you can filter, so say you're just interested in RNA. We can go and click RNA. And you can see that within the table, it's hidden all of the other specimen types and only included RNA. We can then go and filter on more information. So we also have QC data for some of our specimen types. So RIN value for RNA, for example. If we look at the filter for this, you can scroll this number line if you want within a certain range of whatever value you're looking for. Again, you can the table will update in real time. You can also remove any records with a null value by clicking the Remove Missing Value button. So again, you can select which specimen types you want based on whatever criteria you're interested in. And then you can download that data set to submit to the appropriate biospecimen review committee. And then when you're done, you can click the logout button.
As you saw in the demonstration, for each of the studies, we also show a little bit more information about the study, and you can also see information about the specimens that are available. For cohorts that do not have a catalog yet, you can contact NCRAD for details on how to obtain data and also potentially samples, and NCRAD will also provide a list of available samples to pair with the cohort data. NCRAD has a sample request process. We currently review sample requests as they are received. We're transitioning to a new process where we'll be reviewing multiple applications, but on a regular schedule, not as they are received. This will provide us with a more uniform review process, and it also prepares us for what we anticipate will be a larger number of requests that will be coming soon because we have so many more samples available, and also because the larger number of researchers that are now funded for studies. NCRAD's new sample request process is modeled after successful elements of the NINDS Biospecimen Review Committee and the PPMI Biospecimen Review and Access Committee. Applications can be approved for specimens, and they can be reviewed by the NCRAD BRAC or a similar study-specific Biospecimen Review Committee. The NCRAD Biospecimen Review Committee has members with expertise across a wide range of specimen types, including biomarker assays and genetic analyses, and we also have statisticians to evaluate the power of the proposed studies as well. Investigators with funding can apply for specimens, and if they're approved, can then receive those specimens immediately. We have several other options that can assist investigators who are writing a grant that want to receive formal approval for specimens, which can strengthen their grant application. The first thing they can do is they can simply request a letter for their grant from NCRAD that describes our resources but does not indicate that the investigator has been approved for specimens. Alternatively, an investigator can apply to the NCRAD Biospecimen Review Committee for specimen approval, and if approved, they can include in their grant a letter from NCRAD that indicates that they've been approved for specimens once their funding has been obtained. There's a three-stage process for the NCRAD Biospecimen Review Committee. The first is that investigator applies. To do that, investigator inquires about sample availability, and then they apply through our online application process. Then the application is reviewed. The Biospecimen Review Committee reviews the application, and there's three possible decisions. The first is that the investigator is approved. The second is that the investigator is approved if the concerns that are raised by the committee can be addressed. The third option is that the request is denied. If the application is approved and the researcher has the funding, then an introductory call is held with NCRAD to prepare for the sample distribution. You can see in the lower part of the slide the timeline for how an application will go from the initial process to the review decision. Again, we'll be changing from our current procedure, which is to review requests as they're received. Instead, we'll have certain dates when requests have to be made. Then there'll be a review of multiple applications, and then the investigator will receive the results of that review and also the summary of the discussion of that application. All samples from NCRAD are distributed with a material transfer agreement. You can see on our website the step-by-step instructions for completing an MTA, and you can see that on the right. Importantly, what we do is we always put in a master transfer agreement first, and then if an investigator comes in once or comes in multiple times to receive samples, we simply do an appendix that lists the samples that are approved for receipt with each of the approved requests. This makes it simpler for the investigator. They only need to have institutional signature with the original master transfer agreement. All of the subsequent appendices are simply signed between the investigator and NCRAD. And you can see more information for this on our website. As you can see, again, from our online cataloging, you can see that there's a request access to biospecimens. There are study-specific request forms as well as price structure that can be found in those detail boxes underneath each of the studies that are highlighted in the Accessing Biospecimens portion of the NCRAD website. If you would like more information, you can contact us at NCRAD at allstudy@iu.edu, or you can call us at 800-526-2839, or you can go to the website www.ncrad.org. Thank you for attending this webinar.